I'm Jack Nichols and welcome to
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the second round of the Formula SimRacing 2021 Pro Championship. We're here in Portugal for the Portuguese Grand Prix. My name is Felix van Delft, and joining me today once again, it's Aidan Millward. Welcome, Aidan. Looking forward to this race.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one with these newer 2021 FSR cars, purely because there's no boost, there's no DRS, so people are going to have to get by, well, in the old-fashioned way, on these two main straights and try to send it into turn one. And if you've not got enough slipstream, then it's going to be very, very difficult to overtake here. So, as has been said in the in-game chat, it's either going to be full of incidents or it's going to be a train. So, hopefully we'll sort of get somewhere in the middle.
Indeed. To get a bit of a glimpse of what the qualifying will be, all the drivers will have a limit of 3 hot laps in the qualifying session. The session itself is 10 minutes long, but all the drivers are able to set 3 hot laps during that time. We'll jump into that qualifying session in just a second. Let's first have a quick look at the overall schedule of the entire championship. Of course, today the Portuguese Grand Prix. Next race will be the German Grand Prix, which is also going to be an interesting race at the Nürburgring. Always an interesting place to be at, but let's first have a look at what is going to happen in this qualifying session, because I think the drivers are already out on the track.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Zoltschuk's right now. He's, I think he's out on his out lap, and there he is, coming through towards the final sector. Not using the Mickey Mouse chicane that was used in the late 90s. He's using that fast right-hander where it's so narrow that one mistake will put you in a wall, and then into a tricky left-hander, and then round as we go on board through this final corner, which is just going to absolutely muller the left front tyre. And it's just keep it absolutely pinned over the start-finish line to start his first flying lap. And then it's a very difficult braking zone, very bumpy coming to here, brake around the 100-metre board, slow it up, hit the apex, get on the power, try not to spin it out because these cars are very, very torque-heavy. Through a quick right-hander here, let it run all the way out to the curb, brake for tight uphill right-hander, and a very tricky hairpin here, very easy to go too deep, very easy to get understeer, but again very nice and tidy from Zoltschuk's here. Now powering down the straight where a DRS zone would be, but we've not got DRS this year. Hard braking again. This is a tricky corner as well, because it's like, where's the apex, up there it is, and out the other side. Try and straight line the exit here. Quick blast into a right-hander. And this is the bit I was talking about where it's so narrow. It's almost like Monaco here. One mistake and you're in that wall. We actually saw a driver lose his front wing there in the first race. Well, not the first race, but the first streamed race of the day. And then through the final right-hander again. Try not to take too much out of that front left tyre. And Zoltschuk is going to come across the line to set. Ooh, that's a 1:09. That's put him on provisional pole position. Brilliant lap.
Yeah, 1:09.5, provisional pole position. Noah Rovers behind that by about 1.5 tenths. Viktor Ivanov currently, here we go again. Ivan Leonov currently on the lap as well. Coming out of the final corner, a very good second sector from him. I mentioned it just before we started the broadcast, Aidan. There's a kind of 2 philosophies going on right now with the wings. Some are running relatively quite high wings, which are the guys of Oldenmenger, Rietveld. Basically, the burst guys are all having a top speed of roughly 310, 312 kph. And then you have all the NetRex guys, Ivan Leonov, Noah Rovers, Jan Mosnica. They all have relatively low wings with a top speed of about 324, 25 kph. That's going to be interesting in the race as well, I think.
Yeah, they're going to start cancelling each other out. And just for reference, about 300 kilometres, about 185 miles an hour. That's pretty slow for cars with this much power compared to the 200, 205 miles an hour that the that those, like, I mean, Leonov and Ivanov, and it doesn't help that they're driving for the same team. I think they've done that deliberately just to mess with us. But here is one of the burst cars now. This is Cas Rietveld.
Yeah, it's just about to start his lap, I think.
Yeah, so we don't actually have like a telemetry overlay for speed, which would be pretty cool, so we could see the difference between the two. But we could probably see it on his dashboard. But watching this on the Discord stream, it's quite compressed, so we're not going to see that anyway. But currently half a second off the pace. But still, at the top, you've got Sux, Leonov, Roivers. So Netrex having a good time out there at the minute. Lawrence Doherty for HM, 4th. Still at top 4, very, very close, just separated by less than 2/10.
Indeed, of course, Rietveld, definitely a driver that is capable of getting good results. As he starts his lap coming across start finish right now.
So looking at his speedo here, yeah, I think 312. Yeah, so not that rapid in the general sense, but he's going to claw it back through here, so he'll be able to take this corner with a bit more speed because there's more downforce. He'll be able to have a bit more grip at different points of the corner here as well. And I mean, this corner here is quite important, the hairpin. Just managed to carry a lot of speed on the entry and then using that downforce and mechanical grip to get a better exit. But he's then going to be compromised come the end of this straight where people like Leonov and Roivers are going to be catching back up to them. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of things happen, because overtaking here, I mean, you can see how narrow the track is. Overtaking here is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, we've seen this as well in the previous Academy race that was streamed just about an hour earlier. It is really difficult to get past or even get alongside other drivers and then get past safely as well, as Rietveld comes out of the final corner. Good sectors, all personal bests. None of them are session bests, purples, but still able to get up to 7th, which is, I think, a good result from Tom Oldenmenger, though. He's on a flying first sector.
Yeah, it's very difficult, as we were saying, very difficult to overtake here, but you could always just do the Jacques Villeneuve method and go around the outside of the final corner, as we see Chewbacca on the helmet of Tom Oldenmenger here. I'm sure that's some sort of in-joke.
I guess
always
so.
Good. Yeah, always good. always good to see a pop culture reference on these things. Hopefully, LucasArts aren't watching, but Oldenmenger has set a session best in Sector 1. Sector 2 is a personal best, so provided he's hooked it through Sector 3, could he improve on his personal best time? Goes across the line. He's into 2nd place. Brilliant lap.
Yeah, great lap from him indeed. Not just about not enough for pole position, but very good lap indeed. Lawrence Doherty is also on a flyer of a first sector. Indeed, interesting to see, because Doherty is indeed one of those guys with a really high top speed, contrary to Oldenmenger, who has a really low top speed, but they both just set a purple first sector, so that is still pretty close to each other.
Doherty set a fastest session best thing, 2nd sector of a 20.8 there, so this one looks pretty hooked up. Saw some of the guys in the Academy race sort of short shifting through that final corner to help with the traction, but he's now 2nd.
Very close, but just not enough.
Half a 10th. Half a 10th in it, as we're now on with George Chatspantialis. That's a name I'm never going to get right, but I'll stick with that. If I get obliterated in the chat, then so be it. This is slower than his personal best. He's doing a 27.6 of 29. So I don't think... Oh, that's a big drift. That's not going to help him either.
Yeah.
Unless he can claw something back through Sector 3. But this right-hander just goes on forever. And then across the line as Kalaxai finishes his allotted lappage.
Yeah, also... thing to note is Chatsapantelis has a rather sizable grid penalty, if I'm not mistaken, so he'll be at the back of the grid anyway. So he'll be looking to get forward in the race. However, Michael Hare sliding his way through the 2nd sector there. Not sure if that's the quickest way, but so far no improvements in any sector for him. Let's see if this final sector will give him a bit more luck. However, the gaps are very close at the top here. There is about half a second between the entire top 15, as Michael Ayres does get an improvement in the end, but it's not enough to gain any positions.
I mean, I'm feeling sorry for Oldenmenger right now, because look around him, it's all HM and Netrex cars, so he's going to be working alone unless Cas Rifeld can pull something out of the bag in the final minute or so of qualifying, but I don't think he's on track at the minute. Oh, yes, he is.
Yeah, I think everybody lining themselves up for the final run. About 40 seconds to go in this qualifying session, so make sure you get across that line before the timer runs out. As Sooks is not on a great lap, and I think, yeah, indeed, coming into the pit lane, his qualifying session is over.
Yeah, you think he has got pole position in the bag there, as say Rifeld getting really out of shape, coming towards the final sector of the lap. He's up on his personal best in sector 1, through into the tricky right-hander, nice and clean, using all the track, and then using all the track again through the left-hander. That's not optimal.
Yeah, definitely not. Doherty as well, struggling. It seems to be a bit of a theme throughout this entire qualifying session for everybody. A lot of drivers struggling to improve on their own times, especially in that first sector. So a lot of purple times being set earlier in the session, but now a lot of white times. As I say that though, Doherty able to get a personal best and a session best second sector in. Now let's see, does he have enough? Ooh, touches the gravel there. That's not going to help him. Car gets all sideways coming out of the final corner as well. So he's going
to finish though.
Yeah.
It might be a personal best improvement, but
no. Noah Rovers as well across the line. Might be able to steal something away from Doherty. No.
God, top 3. Less than a 10th.
Extremely close indeed. So these will be the qualifying results. Zsolt Sooks starting from pole position. Lawrence Doherty second, with indeed a very close margin between the entire top 3. Noah Rovers only 800ths behind Zsolt Sooks. Then it's a little bit of a gap to Tom Oldenmenger in 4th, Jan Woznica in 5th, 6th Ivan Leonov, and 7th Viktor Ivanov, 8th Michael Ayres, 9th David Kaloksai, and 10th we've got Cas Rifeld. Only 4 tenths separating the entire top 10. And that will surely give us some exciting racing, especially considering these different wings that are going around with the Burst guys, the HM guys, and the Netrex guys. A lot of those cars here in the top 10, which is sure to spice things up for the race here, I think, Aidan.
Yeah, I don't think many positions are going to change hands on track unless people risk it with those very aggressive late lunges that we saw in the previous race today. So I think it might be more down to what happens in the pit stops. If you can jump people in the pit stops through without having to race anybody, you might as well. So I want to see what Oldenmenger does to try and get up the field, because he's going to get swamped by these Netrex guys into turn 1 maybe. He's got Cas Rifeld down there in 10th to probably try and help him out a little bit, but it's probably going to be a Sooks, Doherty, Roivers, Woznica, Leonov, Ivanov show, I think, today.
Yeah, I think that could very well be happening indeed. However, let's have a look at what Mitchie Hoyer thinks about this Portugal GP track.
This is Formula Sim Racing. My name is Mitchie Hoyer. Welcome, guys, to the track presentation for round 2 of the 2021 Formula Sim Racing season. We are at Portugal. We are going around the final turn to start our track presentation lap for round 2 on the bumpy circuit here at Portugal. And we're going across the line into the best overtaking spot on the track. Turn 1, heavy braking zone. Be aware though, bumps in the braking zone make lock up your fronts very easily. Heavy on the traction we go into turn 2. Make sure to not take the curbs too hard, as there are more bumps that can set you off. Same goes for 3 and 4. 2 hairpins going up the hill. Traction is ever so important, but you see the bumps are unsettling the car pretty much, so you need to be alert at all times on this racetrack. Exiting out of turn 4, through 5, going towards 6. A second good overtaking opportunity if you're close enough. But be aware, once you go into the left-hander, up the hill, traction is again a bit tricky. into turn 7, a very late apex right-hander. This is right here where you want to be on the inside of the curb. There's also a little hole that can really screw up your rear, so drivers need to be aware. Turn 8, pretty quick. Turn 9, need to get a good exit into the final parabolica turn, where it is ever so important that you carry maximum speed onto the long straight, trying to prepare for your move or for your defense into turn 1. Guys, that is 1 lap here around the Portugal circuit, and we're now up for interesting racing to see the drivers battle it out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready to start racing here at the Portugal Grand Prix. 59 laps of racing are coming up. For those that have missed it, qualifying just happened. And we are definitely getting ready for a very exciting race. Aidan, let's have a quick look at what happened last race effectively, because we will have a quick look at the season standings here. Of course, with only one race done so far, that's a pretty easy standings, but still very important nonetheless.
Yeah, Roivers getting that debut win with his new team, Netrex Grand Prix, but he's got his teammate Viktor Ivanov there in second. They've got a bit of a gap to Zolt Sux, who's in third, so I expect Sux to do some good things from pole position here today if he manages to keep it on the island. I'm trying to see who else is in there that could probably make some moves later on in the season, but I don't think you would look much beyond that top 3 or top 4 even to be at the top when we get to the final race of the season.
Yeah, I think indeed it's fairly similar to what we had last week will be happening today. However, let's have a look at the starting grid as well then.
Yep, Zolt Sux there on pole position for HM Engineering. Then Lawrence Doherty in second, also for HM Engineering. HM Engineering 1-2 there. Noah Roivers in third, and should be able to make some moves into turn 1. Jan Vosica, Ivan Leonov for Netrex Grand Prix 5 and 6. Viktor Ivanov in 7th, Michael Ayers in 8th. David Kalaksai for Royal Blue in 9th, for Casper Rietveld in 10th for Burst Simplicity Esports. Zoltan Heiss for Brem GP, look out for him during the race, as well as Thomas Vack, always good to do something in the mid-pack for them. Stoyan Barbakov, Sergio Fletcher for Force Polonia. Jukka-Pekka Lalu for Royal Blue in 15th, another driver that should be able to make some moves up the field. Jacob Reed there behind him. Simon Frelich for Royal Blue. Rasmus Andreasen, a driver who should be able to do some gaining of positions. He's a much better driver than he personally thinks he is, so expect to see him later in the race. Cameron Roger, El Presidente in 21st, ahead of Jackson Vent for Go Speed. Marek Godek there again for Go Speed in 23rd. Josh Purvine 24th. George Chatsipantelis with his back of grid for Brem GP, and then George Zalogyanis for Force Polonia as well, making up the rest of the field.
Indeed. So I think the drivers are already in their formation lap, getting towards the end of the lap and getting ready to start this race. I think looking at the tire choices, interesting to note, Ivan Leonov and Viktor Ivanov both on the hard compound.
Yeah, there seems to be an even split of hard and soft, and that was something I noticed while watching the Academy race earlier. So drivers going for different strategies. I mean, some of those drivers just bin the hards like within about 6 or 7 laps, but the tank itself should do about 20, 21 if they properly stretch it. So again, pitch stop strategy gonna probably turn the tide of the race, because now they can refuel. They're not having to run the fuel tank all the way to the end. So it's going to be like that old style Formula 1 type of racing. You know, do you short fuel the car and obliterate the tyres, or do you long fuel the car and well, there's one driver not quite in his box there, but hopefully we shouldn't see too much smoke off the line as engines start overheating, so the lights should be coming on in a second.
Indeed, everybody in their box. Hopefully these lights get on their way. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 lights, and we are racing here for
That's
the
a
Pro
full
Championship.
start.
And
That is a huge full start there from one of the HM cars.
Yeah, Lawrence Doherty already all the way up the front, and that is indeed going to be probably a penalty for him. Zolt Soeks now having to fend off Jan Bosnica, Noah Rovers behind him. Everybody seems to have gotten through the first couple of corners cleanly. Ivan Leonov, Victor Ivanov, both on those hard tires, side by side, and pressure from Kats Rietveld behind them. This is all very close still, of course, in these first couple of corners, but everybody seems to have gotten around cleanly. A bit of squirrely rears there coming through the end of sector 1, and now Kats Rietveld is going around the outside of Victor Ivanov. Ivanov has lost quite a bit of time compared to his teammate, and right behind him Kaloksa is also putting the pressure right on him now.
Yeah, Oldermenger with his soft tyres and Rietveld with the soft tyres just picking off the harder tyres straight off the bat. As I can hear a little bit of contact happening in the background. I think, who's that? It's Josh Purvine that's dropped down the back of the field. Trying to watch two different things at once, but Lawrence Doherty with... It wasn't even a subtle false start. He's got to be serving a penalty within the next 3 laps for that. If we can probably catch a replay of that once things have settled down a tiny bit. I think this might be it.
Yeah, here
it is.
On board. Don't look at that. Yeah, there we go.
So that's the 4th light. The 5th light comes on.
Yeah, I think
I think because he saw... He might have seen Doherty... not Doherty. Soeks move ever so slightly in his box. And that might have made him dump his clutch and go. So he's probably kicking himself for that.
Indeed, not the best start for Lawrence Doherty's race. Now, of course, he will have to probably do a drive-through penalty. Not sure exactly what the game is given him. Yes, it's a drive-through, but we'll probably see him come in the next couple of laps to serve that, and he'll be dropping down to basically the back of the field.
Yeah, he won't be able to do a pit stop either, so he's... well, you would hope it's going to be a drive-through. It might be a stop and go, but you can't actually see the penalties given to a driver unless it's actually done by the server, so we don't know anything, so it's going to be a surprise to us as well.
Indeed, Tom Oldermenger. Now, this is going to be indeed the interesting part. He has got relatively high wings, so it's going to be very difficult for him to stick with and perhaps even get past Mike Herrera, just because he doesn't have a top speed on that car. However, he will be able to close in, of course, in the middle sector quite a bit through the corners. But is it going to be enough for him to get past him?
Yeah, Oldermenger's only got a chance on the straights if he sticks up the back end of that HM Engineering car in front of him, which he is currently, but the HM car's got the slipstream off the Netrex in front, so you can just watch. He's just going to be pulling away by the end, but Oldermenger will catch back up on the brakes, so into more drag on his car.
Yeah, Doherty has already lost the lead to Zolt Soeks, his teammate. Perhaps also choosing to not really battle him. Doesn't really make sense anyway, because he's coming into the pits in the next couple of laps. Jan Bosnica, however, is of course not his teammate, so he'll be probably looking to defend a bit more from him. Bosnica trying to find a way around him, but not quite able to do so, but it's very close. Not the best exit from Doherty. Very close for Bosnica. I think Doherty is indeed coming into the pit
pitting now,
lane.
yeah. So let's see what the server has given him.
I think it's a drive-through.
It appears that way. Depends on where his box is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a drive-through.
So we'll be dropping down to, I think, basically last. Everybody's gone past right now.
He's
So-
going to come out in front of... he's come out in front of Pervine, Vent, Barbakov and Zalogiannis, so...
Yeah, I think they had a bit of an incident at the start of the race, so it could be worse, but still relatively hopeless for him, I would say.
It's just a simple mistake, dropping your clutch way too early. Like I say, he probably saw Soeks move slightly in his box, and off he went. I used to be a sprinter at school, and you see a guy in the blocks next to you sort of wobble, you go.
Yeah.
It happens, so it's one of those things.
Mike Reyers right in front of Tom Oldermenger, right behind Noah Rovers. I think it's going to be difficult for any of these guys to really get past each other, especially with those wings. A little bit further back, Zoltan Hayes and Thomas Wagno. It's actually Shatsipantelis and Lalu. are relatively close to each other, but also just a bit too far to really do anything.
Yeah, no DRS, remember, so it's all been done the old-fashioned way here. But you think Pantelis would... sorry, I saw the red rim on his car and thought he was on the soft, but he's not, so they're both on the hards. Yeah. So I was going to say, you would have thought he's on the softer tyres, he should be able to blow by him in a minute, but no, but then Thomas Vac on the back of Victor Ivanov might do that though. There's only 2/10 in it with those two. But again, depends on what wingage they're running at this track.
Rietveld as well is pretty close to Leonov, but
yeah, it's that wing, isn't it?
He's not gaining anything in the slipstream. I think he's even losing time. So yeah, that is it's going to be tough for those guys to really get going through this race.
Yeah, the problem is that he's faster in the twisty parts, so sector 2, like this little section here, but there's nowhere to overtake. I mean, look how narrow it is. It's like racing on the public roads.
Yeah.
So then, off Leonov goes down this back straight. There's nothing that Rietveld can do right now. So if he wants to get ahead of him, I think he's going to have to do it in the pit stops. But it'll be interesting to see what the rest of Burst does. Will Michi Hoyer and Joni Simičić be doing the same thing later tonight?
Yeah, of course, the main event for everybody watching here now is going to be later today, the World Championship, starting at 19:45 GMT. Make sure to not miss that as well. Like you say, it's going to be very interesting to see what is going to happen there with Michi Hoyer. Won the last race very, well, I wouldn't say very dominantly, but he won it pretty well, right in front of Liam de Waal. Joni Simičić, championship defender. What will he be doing? Other championship, I would say, other championship contenders. Mohammed Patel, Liam de Waal, perhaps. He had a very good race last time around. Just tune in for that and wait and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, because the other HM engineering cars, the guys like Joran Quakel and guys like that, they might be running the low wing as well. So I can't wait for that one. So Holden Menga is now 7/10 behind Michael Ayres here. Ayres will just pull away a tiny bit more on the straight. And you think Oldermega's sort of closing, but as soon as they get to that final corner, Ayres is after this. Oh, here we go. Cameron Roger and Rasmus Andreasen being sort of attacked here by Marek Godek. Godek not quite close enough, but up ahead, Jacob Reed. As Cameron has a look to the inside of there, you'd have to be really brave, really crazy, or both to attempt that. But Cameron wants the position. He's on the softer tyre. So what will happen down here, coming down to the first corner?
This is going to be very interesting. Rasmussen, Cameron and Roger, who's going to have the best exit. Marek Godek is going to stick back for now, but Cameron Roger is going for the send on the inside of turn 1, is able to make it stick. Godek is trying to take advantage of that as well, but not able to just get his nose in enough for now. But Godek looking very feisty on Rasmus Andreasen as well. And right behind them, Matthew Thusen, Lawrence Doherty. Of course, we know he's got pace. He'll be trying to get past all these drivers in front of him as well.
Yeah, Doherty making his way back up through the field after that drive-through. If he can get back up to sort of 15th by the end of the race, he'll still bag a single point. Won't be a bad return given the circumstances, but Cameron getting very racy here on lap number 8 of 59.
Indeed. Let's see what Godek can do. Andreasen already lost his connection to Cameron Roger in front of him, who's already attacking Jacob Reed now. Cameron, of course, on the soft tyre, so we'd expect him to have a bit more pace. Marek Godek, I don't know if he's actually close enough to really do anything. Cameron Roger, though, I think he's going to get past.
Well, Cameron's been forced to the outside here, so this is going to be a difficult move into turn 1 because it's quite tight. Jacob Reed goes very deep into the corner. Cameron trying to switch back. Oh, a bit of a kick of oversteer on the exit. That's not going to help him. But he's going to be stuck behind coming up to turn number 3. Had a look. Didn't quite work out for him. Maybe he'll have something into the braking zone at the end of the long straight here. But that's allowed Andreasen and co to catch back up.
Indeed. All this battling is not helping their overall pace, of course. And they're also starting to lose the connection to Sergio Fletcher in front of this bit of a train as well. See that on the track map on the bottom right of your screen quite well. The green circled dot is the car we're looking at right now, the car of Cameron Roger.
So we'll probably have another crack into turn 1 if he can get the good run through the final corner. That was a bit of a kick there for Jacob Reed. Cameron's just within the slipstream range. Again, no DRS, so he's going to do this manually, as it were. Once again, Jacob Reed goes defensive towards the pit wall. No Senna on Prost in 1988 here. Cam going for the cutback again. Hasn't quite got the run, has he? Don't throw it in the side here. Oh, plenty of room given by Jacob Reed. That is a brilliant move by Cameron Roger. Outbraking him into turn 3 there. And now Andreasen wants a piece of the cake as well.
Indeed, he's taking full advantage of Jacob Reed losing a little bit of pace there because of that different line that he had to take to avoid crashing with Cameron Roger. Godek right behind them as well, getting all feisty, trying to go around the outside now. It's going to be quite difficult, but we've seen people do it before, especially if the soft tires have that grip still around the outside. Goes Marek Godek. Very nice move from him indeed. Lawrence Doherty behind now as well, looking to get past Andreasen.
Doherty should make light work of Andreasen here. No disrespect to Andreasen, but Doherty put the car on second position for the race, so Doherty definitely has pace, and he's on the soft tyres, and potentially, oh, dirty air kicked in there. So I take back everything I just said. Well, hang on.
Top speed. Here we go.
Wow.
Look at that top
he's
speed.
going to thread it.
Up the inside now
Brilliant.
of Andreasen, sorry. But not able to keep his nose there as Cameron Roger did just a lap ago. But you could see that overspeed that the HM Engineering cars have. Just incredible. Running that lower wing setup compared to some of these other drivers and cars. But you can just look at how this train is forming behind Jacob Reed.
It's brought in the Invictus cars as well of Tucson and Roslan. This constant battling, it's just holding them up. The only thing that's working in their favour is that it's such a difficult track to overtake at. Doherty trying for round 2. Might end up being 3 wide again in the braking zone. Doherty ended up in the middle of it last time, so what's going to happen this time round?
He's got a good exit as well, I think.
Oh, he's starting to lose that rear through the dirty air though in that final corner, but this should be easy. And then
pass before the corner.
Yeah. And then next in his sights. Oh! That almost ended in tears.
Yeah, I think you couldn't even put a hair in between that front wing and the gearbox of Jacob Reed in front of him. Luckily they came out unscathed, but that was very close for Lawrence Doherty. Surely now will be trying to get past Jacob Reed in this lap or on start finish.
Not here.
He's going forward. He's showing himself in the mirrors, but not just throwing it in there.
Yeah, I think that was a rather aggressive sniff rather than an attempted dive bomb. But I think he knows he's got the pace down the front straight, so might as well just wait, grab him at turn 1, and then use his pace to chase after Marek Godek, who's 3 seconds up the road. So they'll have clean air for at least 5 laps or so.
Let's see that overspeed once again for the HM Engineering car. Closing in. Where's he going to go? Outside, inside.
Whoa!
doing the dummy on the outside there and now taking the inside. That's going to allow Andreasen also along the inside of Jacob Reed and got past right there. Rasmussen taking the defensive line immediately after that. Next corner is going to be to the left. Matthew Tusen also joining this battle now, going around the outside. Is he going to make that stick? No, Rasmussen had a little bit of a wiggle there. That's going to hamper Matt Tusen's exit as well. And now side by side coming down the straight. Inside is going to be for Jacob Reed. Andreasen struggling on those hard tires right now. Tusen also looking to get past him now.
There's barely enough room for 2.5 cars here, so that side-by-side action saved Reed and Andreasen from losing a place there. But you think these Invictus cars would want to try and push each other up the field, working together. Let's see what the slipstream is like for Matt Tusen here in 20th position. Don't think he's going to get much of a run that Doherty had on Reed. No, he's far too back for that.
Yeah. Won't be able to get close enough here. His teammate perhaps is also too far back. Let's this has all been battling for P18, P19. Let's have a look back at the front. Even though it's been very exciting down there. Of course, the points are dealt out from P15 onwards. And it's still pretty much unchanged. Tom Oldermenger behind Mike Guerres. Not really able to get past him. Probably because his wing is a little bit different. Yeah,
it's he's keeping with him, but you'll just see that red HM Engineering car just pull away now. I mean, the gap is half a second. It's now... So, yeah, it's 5.5 tenths, and then it's up to 6 tenths. So he's putting a tenth just on the straights alone. That's how slippery that HM Engineering car is for this race.
Indeed. David Kalokzai starting to catch up to Kaz Rietveld. Kalokzai looking to get a good result here today as well. Rietveld has that lower wing. Ooh, and oh, that's a back marker.
I see Thomas Vax in the pits. He's the first one to pit. And that was Barbakov that they've just lapped, right. So...
Vak indeed out of the pits now, rejoining in 22nd place. A lot of free air for him now, going back onto the soft tire. So he's opted to go for those soft tires for a second time. And we'll be taking a hard tire stint then at the end probably. Tire rule mandates that every driver has to use at least the soft and hard tire once in the race. After that, you're free to choose whatever you want.
And the fuel tank will last probably about 21 laps if you nurse it. So 21.42, and then a 17-lap sprint to the end. So expecting, at the very least, 2 stops from each driver here today. As someone else is in the pits, it's Jacob Reed.
Yep. Jacob Reed decided to go into the pit lane as well. Tom Oldermenger once again very close to the rear of Mike Guerres through the middle part of this track. With his higher grip, able to stay close. But staying close is not everything. If you want to get the position, you need to get past him at least.
Yeah, to quote the late great Murray Walker, catching is one thing, passing is another. And when you're running way more drag than the guy ahead of you on a super fast straight like this one, Oldermenger's just going to be saying goodbye to Michael Ayres right now as the gap goes from 4.5 tenths to 5.5 tenths within about 400 yards or so.
Yeah. The front, Zoltzuks is comfortably leading in front of Jan Bosnica at the moment. About 3.5 seconds between those two. Noah Rover's not too far behind his teammate as well. Those are looking very good, at least so far on pace. Let's see how they're going to play out their strategy. 17 laps almost done now. And I would assume the first guys within this top 10 starting to come in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people pit early, so short fuel the tank and then full fuel it to the end of the race. Some people might do that in reverse. Some people might do a longer middle stint. You never know. So this is Noah Roivers currently in third behind Jan Vosnica. But Zoltschuk has almost got this race in the palm of his hand.
He does, of course, still 42 laps to go, so everything is still up for grabs, but we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. David Kaloksai, Cas Rietveld, close to each other still. And Kaloksai also doesn't have the highest top speed. Oh, he actually does, 338, so can get a good run out of the final corner. Might be able to get past Cas Rietveld, who is also now caught up to Ivan Leonov on his hard tires. Leonov really doing a great stint on those hard tires. Of course, he won't have to use those tires anymore after this stint. And he will be faster than anybody else that changes to the hard tires in perhaps this upcoming stint or the next one. Let's see if Leonov then gets up to top 5, maybe even the podium.
Leonov still holding strong there in 6th on the hard tyres, surrounded by all those people on softs. Cameron's up to 11th at the minute, but that's because of the pit stop cycling through. But he's still keeping it on track, keeping it nice and tidy. As who's that that's just dived in?
Leonov.
That might be Leonov. So ditching the hards before the soft runners ditch theirs.
Yeah.
But then again, fuel tank. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, interesting.
The fuel tank will run out.
It will indeed. I think theoretically you could do about 20, 21 laps. We saw some people do that. I think even 22 in the Academy race earlier today. But of course, it's also going to be a question of, are your tires going to last that many laps, especially with the soft tire. So far, everybody at the front is able to do that. Ivan Leonov exiting the pits now and will be rejoining right in front of Andreasen.
Yeah, Andreasen should probably be pitting the next lap as we now see Doherty and Chatspantelis. It's almost like a dogfight going on as Doherty's trying to do a little bit of a last to first challenge here. I think Doherty would probably be... Doherty would have saved a bit of fuel, a bit of tyre life, taking that little trip through the pit lane, but it's not going to give him much of an advantage. And just look at that superior grip coming out of turn 6 or turn 5 or whatever it is. I'm used to corner lanes. Oh, bit of a wiggle on the exit. Oh, maybe he didn't get that position after all.
Yeah, Chatspantelis pushed him a little bit wide there on the exit, but I think he had every right to do so. Doherty backed out of it and will now be hoping to get a good exit out of this final corner. However, you're just going to see Chatspantelis running away with it there, and I think Doherty a bit too far back to do anything. Michael Ayers has also come into the pit lane. He'll be going to the second stint and will be going onto the hard tires. You can see this right behind this battle and right behind Marek Godek.
Doherty looking for every which way past Chatspantelis at the minute, but Chatspantelis is on the harder tyre, whereas Doherty's softs will be starting to give out. So it's in that crossover point now of pace and grip for Doherty. But he's ahead of Godek, he's ahead of Ayers, so he's and Thomas Vack as well. Jackson Vent, another HM driver, he's out. So Doherty's sort of getting one up over his teammates, apart from Sux at the minute, who is currently in the pit lane, getting serviced. So Roivers, Oldenmenger should be following suit very soon.
Yeah, most of the top 3, top 5 into the pit lane now. Only Noah Roivers and Tom Oldenmenger staying out for that extra lap. Interesting to see that they were able to save enough fuel to do those 22 laps instead of 21. And we'll be doing 2 more stints towards the end of the race. About 30 laps to go. Ooh, as we see Michael Ayers going for a move there on Marek Godek. Goes a bit wide though. That's going to allow Godek on the inside. He got hit there by Leonov on the back. Almost spun into somebody that was coming out of the pit lane.
Oh, did he hit him, or was that just him lighting up the rear tyres?
Somebody's... Godek, yeah, Godek is into the wall, out of the race.
Was that in the narrow section?
I think it's out of... yeah. Let's have a look at the replay.
Oh, this is coming out of the pit lane.
No, I think this is already before that. Let's go back a little bit further. Yeah, this is what happened before that. So was getting overtaken by Doherty.
Yeah.
And then got hit from behind. Yeah, got hit from behind.
Oh, it was contact.
Leonov. And then, what happened after that? Did you sparks it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't look damaged.
No, I don't think his car was too damaged indeed. Interesting.
Not after that, anyway.
Very interesting. Noah Rovers out of the pits as well. Onto a set of soft tires, as it seems. I think it's on the hards, actually. The game hasn't updated his tires just yet. But going to be interesting to see what will happen at the front of this field. Ivan Leonov, of course, he's one of those drivers that are now on the soft tires compared to a lot of drivers that are on the hard tires in front of him. He'll be hoping to get past Michael Ayres as soon as possible. Of course, he's on the hard tires. And Leonov will be wanting to make use of the pace advantage of those soft tires as much as possible.
So this is Ivan Leonov chasing Michael Ayres. Just over, or now just under half a second between the two of them. Leonov, he's on the soft tyres, Ayres on the hard tyres, so Leonov should have a performance delta over him.
Just
not quite there.
Too far back, yeah. However, I say that he's closing quite rapidly, but I don't think it's enough unless it really sends it. A little bit of a lock up there from Ayres. It's the apex there, slightly on the inside. Don't damage his lap time too much. Just needs to focus on staying close enough, either out of this corner or out of the final corner, and then using the slipstream to get past.
Ayres has got something in a straight line here by the looks of things, because he just seemed to pull away again on the straight, unless that's just the concertina effect. Still Leonov within half a second, so it's all going to be down to his exits coming through these corners. Well, in theory, you should be able to take that left-hander a bit quicker, and then this right-hander should have a bit more grip. The gap's where it was last time. Don't think he's going to be close enough unless he can pressure Ayres into making another little lock-up into turn one again. He's closing. It's not going to be enough. No. So that HM Engineering car, quite slippery compared to Leonov's at the minute. But Leonov could just sit in the slipstream, save a tiny bit of fuel, maybe stretch the stint a little bit more, try something in the pit stops we don't know yet.
He is close now. A little bit of a wiggle from Leonov there coming out of the hairpin. I think it's caused him to be a bit further back again. He can stay this close coming out of the final corner, then he might have a chance.
On my other screen, I just saw Chats Pantelis overtake Jacob Ree by almost driving through the pit wall to do so. The way he swung out behind him to go around was quite strange. Never seen that method of overtaking before, but here's Leonov. He's a little bit closer this time, but still, I don't think he's close enough to actually do anything into turn one.
Yeah, I think he's indeed still a little bit too far back and doesn't even take the slipstream this time around. Him and his team are going to have to start thinking what to do on strategy to get past him. Michael Ayres so far superior on that front, of course. You would think Leonov has the pace advantage. Yes, he does with those tires, but he can't get past. He's not really going to be able to use that pace advantage to any benefit. And you can see the gap to Oldermenger as well, already starting to grow to almost 5 seconds now.
Oh, that was closing up quite bigly on the brakes there for Leonov. Don't know what Ayres was doing, but Leonov just closed right up on him. The gap's now just under 1/4 of a second. Oh, there's a wiggle there from Ayres. You think Leonov's got him under his thumb now. Gap 3/10 as they come through the final couple of corners. A little bit of a missed apex there for Leonov. Not really going to compromise him too much in the final. Or maybe it will. If you get the angle all wrong, and that's put the gap back up to 4/10 of a second. So Leonov couldn't make the most of it that time round.
Indeed. The exit that Ayres gets out of that final corner is just good enough for Leonov to really not have a chance coming into turn 1.
We've seen it a few times now as... oh, hang on, Cas Rieveld's joining in this battle. But as cars are following the Dirty Air through that final corner, if they get the line an inch wrong either side, the back end wants to kick out and it's losing drivers time. So Leonov, you think, would have the pace, but he's just going to be burning those soft tyres up as he's trying to chase down Ayres, and now he's going to be looking in his mirror for Cas Rietveld.
Yeah, Rietveld getting close to them indeed. Rietveld on a similar strategy as Leonov, currently on 5-leveled soft tyres. He hasn't run the hard tyres yet, so it's going to be still something that Rietveld will be doing in his final stint, taking the slower, harder tyre. But right now we know that Rietveld doesn't really have any top speed on his car. I think if already Leonov is struggling getting past Michael Ayres. However, he's going to go for the inside now. Into turn 1, he's going to be able to make it stick. Very close, side by side, coming out of the corner. Next corner is going to be the inside for Leonov. And he made it stick.
Yeah, he's got it. Oh, now it gives Rietveld sending it up the inside. There might be a little bit of contact here. Oh, he gets cigarette paper in between the two of them. But he's now going to have the outside line for the hairpin.
Ooh,
oh, that's a biff. And now Kalaksai wants to go. Ayres has lost 3 positions, almost, in half a lap. But Kalaksai not quite got the grip to send it around the outside, but you think that Michael Ayres is a little bit rattled right now.
Yeah, everything just fell apart there after Leonov was able to send it up the inside there in turn 1. And great job from Rietveld to also just capitalize on that opportunity that presented in itself there coming out of that first corner. Now Michael Ayres is going to have to focus on trying to keep Kalaksai behind as well. Tom Oldermenger is still close to Nora Rovers. This battle has been going on for the entire race so far, but because of the lack of top speed on that Burst eSports car, Oldermenger not really able to get past him.
And here we see Oldermenger up the rear end of Noah Rovers here. Let's see what happens here, because he's on the fresher tyres. He's having a sniff, but not quite got the momentum to really put anything on him, but still build the pressure. Maybe Rovers will make a mistake, as Ayres has done.
Indeed. Let's see, gap is about 3.5 tenths coming into that final corner. Oldermenger should have a bit more grip through here, even in the dirty air. 3.5 tenths coming out of the final corner. Rovers trying to break the slipstream. You can see, even with the slipstream, he's just putting away. Nothing Oldermenger can do. Oh, big mistake there. Rovers locking up badly. That's going to allow Oldermenger up the inside here for turn 2. Still a little bit too far behind to send it up the inside. But Rovers is starting to crack a little bit under pressure here.
Won't be doing the life expectancy of those hard tyres much good, but you've got a bit more wiggle room with the hards as you do with the softs. Again, cars can refuel this season, so you don't need to nurse the tyres as much, but you still need to keep an eye on them as Alden Menger and Rovers trip over each other into the second of the hairpins, and then up into this Monaco Adelaide-like section where it can all go horribly wrong. But yeah, down the front straight here, the pit straight, you'll see Rovers' car pull away. It's almost like Alden Menger's carrying Lewis Hamilton's testing sandbags on the car. As that gap, it's going up. It's nearly half a second from about 4/10.
Looks like micro errors right behind that battle. Also, not really able to do much alongside 2 micro errors, even though he has the softer tire. But now he's done 9 laps on that, so they will start to wear down a little bit now. Last stint he did 20 laps on those. He should have some life left in them still, but it's not going to be easy for him to get past. Jan Vosnica has closed the gap to Sux, by the way. Sux took that. I think Oldermenger and Rovers are fighting again, and indeed Oldermenger has been able to get past Rovers there. Now it's going to be important for Oldermenger to get a gap coming out of the final corner. Otherwise, Rovers are just going to fly past out of the final corner. And you can see already the grip advantage Oldermenger had. Managed to gain 3/10 almost just through that final corner, and now Rovers really is going to struggle with keeping up with him.
It's a pretty unconventional place to overtake as well, because I tried to overtake somebody there and ended up spearing into the side of them, but it's so there must have been quite the mistake from Rovers coming out of that corner to give Alden Menger the chance to have a crack, and he's got a 3/4 of a second lead over Rovers right now, as we now look at Jan Bosnica, who's within about half a second or so of Zolt Schuks, so battle for the lead may be inbound.
Yeah, these two took different tires in their first pit stop. Zolt Schuks on the hard tires right now, Bosnica on the softs. So I would say technically Schuks still has an advantage, because next stint he will have the soft tires, Bosnica will have the hard tires in the final stint. But Schuks will want to try to keep Bosnica behind him for as long as possible right now, to make sure that after the pit stops he's still in front of him as well.
Still having a go at the slipstream. I thought Schuks was going to end up in the pit lane doing that, but he took it right to the. I don't know what the legalities are with commitment to the pit lane, but he obviously knows more than me. But Vosnica making the most out of these Red Wall soft tyres. But Schuks putting on a decent defensive show here. Vosnica might have more grip coming out of the hairpin. Swinging it in. Take the late apex. Doesn't quite get the power down as well as he would have wanted. Schuks maintaining a 3/10 of a second lead down the back stretch into this deceptively tricky left-hander. Again, tried to straighten the exit for optimum power delivery. It looks like Schuks just pulling away ever so slightly.
Indeed, Bosnica not really able to fully take advantage of the grip advantage that he has. Also, of course, those tires are now 12 laps old already, so they are starting to lose their grip. As you see, they're a bit of a wiggle.
Case in point, but that gap coming down. So it looks like Vosnica has got the better car in a straight line, but Schuks has got something in the tank across the whole lap.
Indeed. On the braking, Vosnica closing in a little bit. Ooh, on the exit though, very squirrely. Losing a bit of time.
Meanwhile, Cameron Rogers sitting pretty in 12th position with quite the gap to Jacob Reed behind. So there's about 20 seconds between 12th and 13th, and it looks like Cameron's catching up with Sergio Fletcher here.
Yeah, doing a good job so far. No mistakes. Just needs to keep doing that to the end of the race. 27 laps to go. Still quite a bit, but let's hope he'll be able to keep it together. Lawrence Doherty, I think, is battling with Jacob Reed just behind these two. Just got past on those soft tires. Of course, after that jump start that he did, got the drive-through, got sent all the way to the back, and now fighting back up to P13 already, and will start to try and close the gap to Cameron Roger, but that gap is 19 seconds, so that will not be easy for him to do.
I've just noticed that Viktor Ivanov is out of the race. So when and how did that happen?
That's indeed a good question. I think not too long ago. Let's have a look at the replay.
So while you tee that up, I'm just trying to see what else is... Oh, there it is. Oh, that was quick. So, is this going to be an accident on power delivery, or is it going to be...
Let's see.
Is it going to be disco fever? Oh,
I think it's going to be the outside curve, isn't it? Yeah, outside
dropped
curve
it.
into
Yeah.
the wall.
Oof, that's a biggie.
Yeah, that's one curb that you want to avoid.
Well, that also happened in the academy race. So
yeah, it
that's
did
two victims.
So far this week, 2 victims of one curb. Let's see if the World Championship gives us any action there as well. But Don Bosnica, same story. Not really close enough to Zoltsuk to do anything.
Yeah, it's understeer central there. Dirty air kicking in a little bit. Although these cars probably don't have as much dirty air as they did last season, with these cars being based off the future Formula 1 regulations, so there'll be more ground effect type cars as opposed to topside aero cars. Still interesting, good little look ahead to the future. So Studio 397 might implement some sort of ground effect technology on cars in the future. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Andreasen is now starting to catch up to Jacob Reed in front of him. Reed has really dropped back. Was battling with Cameron Roger at some point in this race, and now almost 20 seconds behind him. Andreasen, of course, a little bit the same story for him. So goes to show that Cameron Roger really did a good second stint here. Now with 24 laps to go, I would assume first drivers will be starting to pit in the next 4 laps or so, as it's about 21-22 laps at max that you can get out of this tank, as Andreasen almost loses it there on the curb. Oh, and again.
He's going to need some new Nomex after that. That looked like it could have ended in tears, but he still kept it on the track. Hasn't lost too much time to Jacob Reed in front, but Chatspantalis will be licking his lips at the prospect of that happening again.
Yeah, Chatspantalis has maybe a bit too much experience with that. I think, if I can remember correctly, he was dominating the academy race last year here in Portugal, but then had a similar incident, and he touched the curb and spun it into the wall from the lead, which was quite unfortunate. And so far he's doing a good job, as he started from the back of the grid as well, looking right at some points finishing positions at the moment. Of course, that starts from 15th up to first.
So say, considering we've been talking about how tight this track is, how narrow it is and things like that, we've not really seen any major contact between any drivers apart from the Marek Godek incident, which may or may not have damaged his rear suspension. Nobody's speared into anybody and wiped them out at turn 1 or anything like that, so it's been pretty good overall, considering, you know, jokes and memes about it being an absolute carnage fest. That's Chatspantalis that needs a change of underwear. And that's that dirty air through that final corner that I was talking about 5 or 10 laps or so ago.
Woznica now really starting to lose more and more time as his tire starts to degrade. 8/10 the gap between him and Zux now.
I mean, Vosnica could pit.
Yeah, the window opens this lap.
Yeah. So he could pit this lap and nurse it to the end on a set of hards, or he could put the softs on. I mean, he's sort of got free reign. It's you think he might want to try and get onto the same tyre as Sux for a fair fight to the end, but
I think he still needs to take the hards anyway.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't put them on so far. Yeah, he started on softs and indeed still needs to take the hard tires then. So he'll have to take the hards. Doesn't have a choice. So that will give an advantage, of course, to Zoltsux, as I guess he will want to take the soft tires this next stint as well. We'll have to see what he actually does. Indeed, if it's a bit of a longer stint, then the hard tires might be not too bad a choice.
Yeah, Jacob Reed's in the pit lane right now. He's just left the pit lane, I think. No, he's still in the pit lane. So who was that? Oh, I think someone's just died. I've just seen a huge puff of smoke and gravel at turn 1. It's Jukka-Pekka Laulu. I think he's had some sort of incident at turn 1.
Car still seems kind of intact. Let's have a look at the replay. What happened to him? I think it was an incident with Aidan to be honest.
I think it happened coming out of the pits because his name went green using the old UI here, indicating that he'd come out of the pits, which mean in blue. So he must have made contact coming out of the pit lane with someone else, and then I just caught the end of it as he spun out.
Yeah, it's indeed coming out of the pit lane. Ooh, yeah. No idea. Roslan, I think, had no idea he was still there on the inside. Jukka-Pekka Laulu and then making contact. Both of them miraculously still have their wheels and wings attached.
Roslan's around again, I think.
Oh.
Or was that...
Yeah, Woznica has lost a lot of time behind Tom Oldermenger right now. And must have had a spin or something then.
I think Roslan hit his own teammate. Yeah. And they both... Yeah, I'm just looking at the replay now. They've... Roslan and Tucson have come to blows at the place where Ivanov bought the farm. And...
This is what happened to Woznica. Oh, on power. Already squirmly. And now... This is going to be the curb. Oh!
I mean, the synchronized pirouette that the Invictus cars did was worthy of a 10 on Strictly Come Dancing. It was quite well choreographed, although it's not the way that they would want their race to have gone today.
Yeah, I think Woznica is very lucky to still be alive there. Could have ended much worse, but of course he's lost quite a lot of time to Zoltsux, who has gone into the pit lane just a previous lap and onto the soft tire indeed. So he'll be trying to use the full advantage of the grip of those tires to try and challenge Woznica for the win, but surely that's not going to be much of a problem as Woznica comes into the pit lane as well for his final stop of the race. 20 laps to go, 1 stint to go.
Vosnica will probably definitely come out behind Sux now after avoiding that little incident. But I mean, Cameron Roger will be yelling "Stop the count" right now because he's in 4th as he brings his car in for a pit stop.
Long stop for Woznica. 15 seconds, of course, filling that tank right up to the brim. And he's got a back marker in front of him. Right now, yeah.
I think that might be... It's definitely Tucson because Roslan's out of the race. And Tucson just bails, lets him through. So it's not just raining but pouring for Vosnica at the minute. Aldermenger in second place on those hard tyres, so he's gained a little bit out of this. As we now cut to Zoltsux coming through sort of like sector 2 here. Aldermenger less than a second behind, so keeping up.
Yeah, but for how long will that be? Of course, on those hard tires, you would expect him to be a little bit slower. He does have, of course, the higher wing, so probably will be able to get a bit more grip through the corners, even on the hard tires. But I think Zoltsuks will be starting to pull out the gap now, and if he doesn't make any mistakes, I think he will be pretty safe for the win here.
Yeah, that gap's now up to a second, so Suk's definitely got the better car in a straight line. Oldenmenger pulled it back a tiny bit, but on the slower tyres as well, and a car with more drag, that he's going to have to want some sort of thing to happen to Shuks to take advantage of that and get into the lead here today.
Indeed. Yeah, ideally, Oldenmenger, of course, tries to stick as close as possible to Suk's until those soft tires start to go off, and then his hard tires will have a little bit of an advantage grip-wise at the later part of his stint. But he needs to make sure to not lose time first, and I think that's going to be very difficult for him.
That said, though, Leonov is slowly closing in.
Yep.
Fosdika's lost that big time. He's 3.5 seconds behind Roivers. So you think that with how slippery the Netrex cars and the HM cars are, Oldenmenger's probably going to have a hard time come the end of the race with Leonov and Roivers closing in. It might be an HM and Netrex podium at this rate.
Indeed. Nora Rovers. It's going to be interesting to see who of these Networks drivers is going to come out in front. I would think that they should work together at first to try and catch up to Oldenmenger and get past him. After that, probably going to be gloves off. 17 laps to go. And of course, both of these drivers want to get as good a result as possible.
Yeah, gap's increasing to Oldenmenger now. It's probably going to be about 1.5 as they cross the line, but there's Roivers looking at the back of his teammate. So it's not over yet with 16 laps remaining, 15 laps remaining.
Zoltan Hives is right on the back of Thomas Wach. Wach on the hard tires, Hives on the softer tires. Surely if he gets a good exit, we'll be able to get past him here. Well, that's definitely going to be able to. If he comes into the pit lane. Cameron Roger behind that. I think he's too far back to do anything. Breaking into the first corner. Cameron on the harder compound tires, so you would think Hives could be able to make that gap.
Cam's having a good one today.
Yeah, indeed. Up to the 10th place now. Does he still need to stop for a second time? No, he doesn't. So, top 10 finish for Cameron would be a very good finish, I would say. I think any finish would be a good finish for him, to be honest.
Well, he didn't have the best of times last season at this race, did he? So it's... he's got just under 6 seconds to Yukapaka Lalu in behind. Doherty 14 seconds behind. So, yeah, Cam could be... I mean, well, worst case scenario, Cam could be 12th at the end of this race, but still, if he gets top 10, that'll be brilliant for him.
Definitely. Leonov is now caught up to the back of Oldenmenger. About 7 tenths between the two. Oldenmenger doesn't really have any top speed, so I think if Leonov can get a good exit out of the final couple of corners, he'll be able to fly past Oldenmenger before the first corner.
Yeah, that gap's been coming down over the last couple of laps, just half a second in it at the minute. Sux is pulling away from Oldenmenger, that's now at 1.8. Be even more at the end of the start-finish straight. Softer tyres for Leonov. Absolutely hammers the curb. through the second last corner and now through the final corner. Dirty Air not getting the best of him this time round. He's not close enough to probably make a move into turn 1, but he's definitely got enough to catch right up. Ever so slightly closer, but backs out of it at the last second. Well, not the last second, but you know what I mean. He backs out of it to avoid a bit of a carnage fest into turn 1, but Roivers as well, part of that hunting pack. And that's not a slap traffic, so it doesn't matter. I think that's Felix. But I don't think Voznica will get in on this, but still, Leonov and Roivers, decent return for Netrex in this race. Although they would have probably wanted the win. But still, Shucks has put in an absolutely brilliant performance this afternoon.
Definitely. Leonov really quite a lot closer this time around. Just needs a good exit. Needs to line himself up through this final couple of corners. If he gets a good exit, you should be able to...
He should have it this lap,
Yeah.
I would have thought. Considering how big the closing speed is with his setup. Everything under control through the final corner, so no time lost there.
Last time the gap was 8 tenths and he caught up basically to the back. Now it's about 5 tenths. Surely he's going to send it up the inside here. No, he's going to try around the outside. Interesting.
Switch back.
Yeah, he's going to try, but I don't think it's going to be enough. No, not just yet.
Alright, so I'll have to wait until the end of this lap to get past, but... Oh, was that Aldermanger going a bit too deep there? No. Sort of collected it up. Laying off. Oh, no!
Well, that's not going to help.
Spinala.
Put down the power a little bit too much, too early. And spun the car around there. Now it's up to Nora Rovers to fight back for the podium for Netrex here. Jan Woznica also got past Leonov already. So Leonov making a mistake. It happens. Of course, you learn for that and you go on.
Roy was too far back to make a pass into turn 1 here, but he'll still catch up enough. He might just lock onto the slipstream, but won't be close enough for it to do anything major. So the start of the next lap might have a look. Voznica 6.5 in turn behind. So Aldermanger might have got himself a podium position with that mistake from Leonov. As there's a car in the gravel trap.
Ah, that's Jacob Reed, I believe.
Yeah, he's going again now.
Yeah, must have made a mistake somewhere. So keep our eyes on our Rovers for now, because I think he probably going to be able to do something into the first corner this lap around if he gets a good exit in this final sector and out of the final corner.
Here's the look back from Aldermanger's car towards Roivers. 3/4 of a second the gap. Probably not got enough in the tank to be able to make a move here, but still going to be catching up enough. I mean, you'd have to do the most ridiculous of ridiculous dive bombs to make that stick into turn 1, but Roivers getting ever closer.
I think there's quite a bit of a battle behind this. Gus Rietveld together with Ivan Leonov and Michael Ayers now side by side. Ivanov losing the position there. Leonov, sorry.
Well, Leonov's tyres will have been cooked from that spin he had earlier, so Michael Ayers, don't know if he's aware of that happening, but still could potentially have another position, get him up into 6th. But Rietveld doing a good job to get from 10th up to 5th thus far. So a decent return for Burst eSports. And actually, Burst eSports have got all of their cars in the points as it stands. So you got Aldermanger in 2nd, Rietveld in 5th, Cameron Roger in 10th, and Andreasen in 13th. So not a bad return.
I think Rovers might have a chance this time around. No, just a little bit too far back. Just needs a tenth or two. But the grip and the downforce of the Burst eSports car are just high enough to keep him behind for now.
Yeah, 9 laps to go. Those soft tyres will be past their use-by date. Won't have the same performance they had when they left the pit lane. So if Rietveld wants that position, he's going to have to take it within the next couple of laps. Sorry, not Rietveld, Ayers.
Yeah. Oldermenger. Rovers has made a mistake somewhere. Lost
he's
quite a bit of time. 1.2 seconds behind now, and it's definitely not going to help him.
The only explanation I've got for that is that he had a similar incident to Leonov. As we see Michael Ayres on the back of Leonov. Oh, I think I might have just heard a crash.
Yeah. I think it's Andreasen or Thomas
Vaak.
Let's have a look at the replay. Thomas Vaak. What happened?
As this is coming coming onto the back stretch through the kink. Did he try and send it and come a cropper?
Yeah, a little bit, and then just spun around it.
They both crashed. Well, they both spun, I should say. But Vaak actually hit something, and Andreasen allowed to carry on his merry way. But Andreasen somehow still in the points, so he's lucked into that one.
Yeah, quite a big gap to Mathusen behind that as well. All of those drivers are lapped down as well, so shouldn't be too big a problem. Ivan Leonov catching up to Rietveld now. Rietveld, same story as Oldermenger basically. Quite high top speed for Leonov, but in the middle sector quite low grip. And it's the other way around for Rietveld. He'll have low top speed, but he can get good exit, good mid-corner speed. And so far that's worked out pretty decently for Rietveld and Oldermenger.
Yeah, again, because it's so difficult to overtake through the twisty section, they're able to sort of pull a gap through the twisty bit, and it's not quite enough for the low downforce guys to catch up on the straights. So, as we thought, it's all been cancelled out as Leonov absolutely throws it into the second last corner, and then trying to get the most out of the car through the final corner. Doesn't use as much curb as Rietveld does, but he's going to be too far back to get a move done here.
Yeah. Catches right up. We've seen this before. They just need a little bit more. Yeah, need to be a little bit closer coming out of that final corner. But no mistakes so far from Oldermenger and Rietveld. They've been doing a great job through that final corner. It's really the most important part of the racetrack for them right now.
Royver's back within half a second of Oldermenger, so that battle's going to kick off in the next couple of laps or so.
It's only 7 after this 6 laps to go.
Now Leonov stalking Cas Rietveld here. Gap's just over half a second, so... Well, here we go. Roivers
I think he might
just have enough here. He's probably going to get sent to the outside. Oh no, he's found a gap on the inside. Dive bomb.
Gets the car stopped in time, yeah. Great job
Rovers
there.
Finally into second.
Yeah, indeed. Great job there from our Rovers. Oldermenger now
Well, he's safe
trying
from
to stick
Vosliger.
close. Yeah. Leonov not just able to get past Rietveld, but if he follows the example of Nora Rovers, should be able to get past at some point. But Nora Rovers, yeah, he's got 3 seconds roughly to Zoltzuks. 6 laps to go. I don't see that happening. Half a second a lap quicker. And then, of course, then you still have to get past. But I think second place is still a very good result for Nora Rovers as well.
I'm just looking at the lap times. Well, Zoltzuks' last 2 laps were a 1:12, whereas Rovers is in the mid to high 11s. And he's just set a 12 dead, so
Okay.
that's yeah, that ain't happening.
Leonov has a decent exit this time around. Will
He's not
he
close
be
enough.
able to? I think it's just too far indeed. He catches up. Rietveld goes defensive slightly, but doesn't really need to anyway.
Rietveld will get some of that gap back through here with more downforce. Leonov's softer tyres will be burning out a bit quicker than Rietveld's hard, so if Rietveld drives without getting too rattled, he should hang on to 5th by the end of the race with 4 to go. Still Leonov keeping pretty close, despite less downforce. See what happens through here. Gap goes back up to half a second, so he's got some time in the corners. Rietveld over Leonov, that is. Looking back towards Leonov right now. Gap's gone up again because of the downforce and stuff, but Leonov 8 tenths behind, 7 tenths.
Yeah, it's too far.
Again, it's too far, yeah, so it's Rietveld might just have enough in it to keep that position for a well-deserved 5th place come the end of the race.
Ukapekalalu is catching up to Cameron Roger. His beautiful 10th place might start to slip from his hands as Ukapekalalu is closing in. Lalu also has decent top speed, I believe. Cameron Roger a little bit less so. Let's see what happens here. Lalu catches up quite rapidly indeed. Just a little bit too far to make the move so far, but if he can keep this close throughout the lap, next lap he's going to be golden. So he makes a little bit of a mistake through turn 2 though.
There's an apex there somewhere. He didn't hit it, but just half a second in it between the two of them, so this should be an interesting battle towards the end. So we've got Leonov versus Rietveld, Roger versus Lalu, and that's pretty much it. I think those are the 2 closest battles on track right now. Frelick versus Barbakov for 17th and 18th, and then somewhere in the middle of all that, you've got Matt Tucson driving around on his own.
Yeah, Tucson not really having the season that he would have liked to. A decent, well, pretty good season, I should say, last year in the Academy Series. Got promoted up to the Pro Series this year, but hasn't been able to get the results that he wanted, I think. Lalu is, I think, a bit too far back. As Cameron, I thought he was going to the pit lane for a second, but taking that aggressive defensive line. But so far able to keep Lalu behind him.
Yeah, Lalu still in that sort of 3 tenths to half a second bubble behind him. But again, like Rietveld, Roger is on the harder tyre, and that sort of more downforcey setup that is giving him a little bit extra in the twisty bits. So again, if Roger can keep it on the track, should hold the position along with Rietveld. So with well, this is the second last lap, so the next lap they do will be their final lap. So it's all to play for still. It's just who blinks.
Indeed. Rovers has been able to catch up to about 1.5 seconds to Zoltzuks. 2 laps to go though. it's probably not going to be enough unless Sux makes a mistake of some sort.
Lalu maybe lost a little bit of time there, attacking that curb a bit too hard. So Cameron starts lap 58. Sux and co will be starting lap 59 soonish. Probably about another 30 seconds or so away from the final lap. So still nice and tense towards the end. We've been treated to a good one here today.
Yeah. Battles all over the field. Had a big battle at the start of the race around P20, P18. And we've now been seeing the battles for around P10. And of course for the podium positions. Top 5. I think a very good race from these drivers indeed. Not too many incidents. Of course, stuff happens. But no really major incidents so far. So we're on the final lap.
I mean, we had the two Invictus cars coming together, and a couple of knocks, but no major ones because people have been a bit overzealous into braking zones or anything like that. So should be I'd say this is a pretty decent warm-up act for what's to come within the next 45 minutes or so with the World Championship starting.
Yeah, of course, for everybody watching, make sure to not miss any of that as well. And about 45 minutes, the World Championship qualifying will start. However, first, let's finish this race. Salt Sux, he's got about 7.5 tenths now. Is it going to be enough? Surely. If he doesn't make any mistake coming out of this final corner, then he'll be good. But Rover's really closing in a lot in these final couple of corners. Does Sux have enough fuel to get to the line? Yes, he does. Yeah. And he takes victory here for the second round of the Formula SimRacing Pro Championship here in 2021. Noah Rovers just misses out on the win, but a great race from him, finishing in second. Tom Oldermenger in third, final podium position for him. Jan Bosnica in fourth. Gus Rietveld able to take fifth in front of Ivan Leonov. He wasn't able to get past him in the end. Mike Carreras in seventh. David Glocksai in eighth. Ninth, Sultan Hayes. He's just coming around the final corner now, and I think Cameron Roger was able to keep Jukka-Pekka Lalu behind him as well as they come out of the final corner to finish their race. Lawrence Doherty, I think a bit of a disappointing one for him. Of course, he started from that second position on the grid, but it wasn't meant to be. He did that jump start, got sent to the back of the grid. Still gets some points, at least P12, but he'll be hoping to get a better result in 2 weeks' time, obviously. Sergio Fletcher in 13th. George Shatsupantelis from the back of the grid in 14th. And final finisher in the points was Rasmus Andreasen, but he's already lapped down, so he's already finished this race. Great race, I think. Aidan.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Sux leading pretty much all of the race. Aldermenger, Rietveld, great finish for them. Brilliant finish for Cameron Roger. To get a top 10 finish in Pro isn't easy with the talent levels here. Lawrence Doherty will be wondering what could have been if he hadn't false started, as I think Zolt Sux is coming around to do some celebratory donuts. There we go. Might as well burn off the last of the fuel and the remains of the tyres. But don't clang the wall.
Oof, very close indeed.
Almost doing a Will Davison. Embarrassing in front of all those people. Nice.
Yeah, great stuff indeed. Let's have a look then at the final results. Right, so Zolt Sux indeed winning this race. And you can see the entire top 10 down here. Great bit of racing we've seen here in the Pro category today. Of course, it's not the only racing that we've had today and that we will have today. In about 40 minutes-ish time, we've got the World Championship coming up qualifying, and after that the full race for them as well, which is going to be a very exciting one. Of course, Jurne Simocic Championship defender, who will be trying to get a better result than he had last week. Michi Hoyer had a great result last week. Let's see if he can carry on that momentum and get a good race here once again. Of course, we've also got the next race of the Pro Championship coming up in 2 weeks' time, which will be the German Grand Prix. I think Nürburgring is also going to be a very interesting track to watch, isn't it, Aidan?
Yeah, it's a tricky track to set up. It's a tricky track to overtake at. So we'll probably see more of the same of what we've seen today. So Portuguese Grand Prix, a good warm-up for the German Grand Prix. But the one I'm looking forward to is the French Grand Prix on the 20th of June, Le Mans.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
Definitely going to be an interesting one. Let's have a look at the provisional standings after this race. Noah Rovers leading the championship with 45 points. Zolt Sux right behind that with 42, closing that gap a little bit more. Ivan Leonov in third, losing a bit of points there after not having the best race. Jan Bosniak fourth, Michael Ayers fifth, Gus Rietveld sixth with 22 points, sharing that fifth place effectively with Michael Ayers. Victor Ivanov seventh, 0 points for him today. Tom Oldermenger eighth, Zoltan Hives in ninth, and Jukka Pekalalu rounding up the top 10 of the championship. And I think that's going to be it for us today, Aidan.
Yeah, so I'll get some of Mrs. Millward's chicken casserole and sit down and watch the World Championship. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, make sure to not miss that. 40 minutes time, qualifying will be getting underway. Until then, I want to wish everybody a very nice evening, and thank you for watching. And of course, Aidan, thank you for once again joining me here in the commentary box.
No problem.
All right, so see everybody in roughly 45 minutes time, I hope.